Hi, beautiful human. I am Zach, that is Dan, and today we welcome to the studio a human being that has had her hand, her mind, and her heart in really some of your favorite records and some of the biggest songs to ever exist on planet Earth. They are your favorite songs by people like Sabrina Carpenter, Tate McRae, Justin Bieber, Harry Styles, Selena Gomez, and so many artists that have been on this couch, and she's an artist on her own. She has her own music out as well, but her story is wild. Say hello to Grammy winner, Amy Allen. Grandma Amy Allen. That's not
Grandma.
true.
That was we had a photo booth last year for like my Grammy party. I did it with my friend Dan Nigro, who also won for Producer of the Year. And
Casual.
Our thing at the bottom was like Grammy, Amy, and Grandpa Dan. We liked being punny about the Grammy thing.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like a grandma. I work with so many young artists. I'm like, if I'm in my 30s, I'm a grandmother.
So,
that is what it is.
Okay, let's dissect that for a second.
Yeah, let's dissect it.
What are you bringing to the table then in your 30s that these young artists need? Because there's something there clearly.
Yeah. I feel like it's really nice for me because they're going through a lot of things I went through I'm still going through, but they're going through it for the first time that I went through like 8 or 9 years ago. I'd say there's about like usually eight or so years between me and the artist that I'm working with, usually. And I think it's really nice because it allows me to dig back into like my first real heartbreak or the first time I was experiencing like really living life on my own and doing all these things. And it's really nice for me to go back through it. And it's also maybe nice for them to like talk to somebody that is close enough in age where it doesn't feel like there's this crazy generational gap.
Real.
But also has lived through it and is like a few years on the other side of it. So I don't know, it feels nice. It feels cathartic. But I mean, damn, bringing up a lot of like those memories and digging back in is definitely crazy. And it's my job every day of the week,
So much of your own story exists in, you just looked at the wall, right? Like
these two big stories there.
So much of who you are and who you have been as a person exists in these records.
Yeah.
So can you...
Which ones are we pointing at on the wall in case people can't see?
I'm pointing at Halsey. And then Harry was like the first artist I worked with that I was like so starstruck. The second I walked into the room, I was like, what do I do? And he became like such a fast friend. And we wrote Adore You, I think on the first day of meeting each other, which was so fun. And just like such a joy. I feel like that was the first time I locked in with somebody where I was like, oh, I can have like friendship chemistry with somebody in the room.
I want to work backwards from Halsey in a second, but let's start with Harry there. Like, what did you do? How did you break the ice in that moment?
Luckily, the other two people in the room were two of Harry's really good friends. So Kid Harpoon is a producer and Tyler Johnson, also a producer, and they work with Harry all the time. And
they're incredible.
They're amazing. And I had worked with them on a bunch of other projects. So that felt really nice for me because I had two of like my brothers in the room with me. But Harry is so phenomenally talented as an artist and a songwriter, but also just as like his people person skills and his
it's crazy.
Just like allowing to like break the ice and just like have a regular conversation. And we were like dancing and it was just like we had been friends forever within like 20 minutes, which is astounding to me that you can get there with somebody. But I give all the props to him because he's a great people person.
How did your relationship begin with his collaborators? How did they find you?
I'm trying to remember what the first thing I worked on. I ended up working on a bunch of my like solo artist stuff a long time ago with Tom, Kid Harpoon. And so we had like a really good rapport and we had worked a bunch. I'm trying to remember what the first thing was, but it was pretty early on still into our friendship that they brought me to meet Harry, which was like such a leap of faith for them because I didn't have a ton going on at that point in my career. I had like 2 songs that I could like really put my name on that felt like, I had like a trajectory. I was like moving, but I hadn't done a ton yet.
That Halsey record being one,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And Selena Gomez.
A song called Back to You was my very first one.
2 songs that you craft on your own, right? And then they get pitched to them.
They get pitched. Those 2 were pitched songs, yeah.
Do you think about the demos for those songs ever?
I do think about them. They come up once in a while because I think something that was really exciting in the past like 3 or 4 years for me, at least, is I don't do a ton of pitch sessions anymore. Pitch sessions meaning when the artist isn't in the room. Now I'm so lucky that I get to be in the room with the artist and create these songs with them and like tell their stories with them alongside them, which is so exciting for me and really fun. And it allows for the songs to be very personal to them. But that was back in the day when songwriters were doing pitch sessions like all the time.
By the way, like those songs to be personal to them, but also personal to you, because
Very
as you reflect in your own life and you try to find the parallels between you and
Yeah.
Selena or Sabrina or Harry or whomever,
Yeah.
so much of your story is
Yeah.
woven in there.
Yeah, I know. Every single song that I listen to that I've done, I listen back and I'm like, oh, that like really takes me back to a moment in my life, which is nice. It's like my life is soundtracked through these songs too, but I got to write them kind of like in tandem with these artists that, we were writing about what they were going through, but I've tapped into something that was similar so we could write it together, and it's amazing. But those two particular just the Halsey one and the Selena one were back in the day I did a lot of pitch sessions.
What was it like for you to give up a song like that? Was any part of it hard or emotionally taxing for you?
No, I think... So I had my own artist career when I was in college. I had a band. We toured a lot, and I loved it.
You had many bands.
I've had bands.
Okay, she was playing in a bluegrass group when she was like
you've
a
done
fetus.
Your homework.
Yeah, are you kidding? You're the real deal.
Dead.
Like,
I mean, I did start with bluegrass.
Yeah.
Jerks of Grass was the band that I used to open for, and the banjo player was my guitar teacher. And my sister and I would open for them at this like bar in Portland, Maine, where I'm from, every Thursday night from when I was like 13 till 18. Like, every single Thursday, didn't miss one. We would play bluegrass like opening for this band. Very chaotic. Very fun.
I will also say Portland, Maine has great pop radio. There's two great pop radio stations in town.
There are. And I feel so grateful to have been, I know we're jumping all around, but I go back to Maine all the time, and every time I go back, I try to see live music, and I'm so grateful for growing up there in the music scene, because it's such a lively, like, always evolving music scene there. I just feel like really grateful that that's how I got going.
I want to like get into like every song, and I want to get into your own stuff, but we need to go into your backstory just for a second.
Okay, we can.
Because
Let's do it.
Well, it is interesting because how long of your life were you focused on being the artist?
I was talking about this the other day. I think I was focused on being the artist until I was probably like 21, 22, probably 22. Because, and now I look back on it, I've always loved performing. I started songwriting by just like playing guitar in my bedroom when I was little and having it be like a really intimate thing. And then I feel like when you fall in love with songwriting at a really young age, you're only, like, you are the vessel for people to hear the songs. You can't be like 12 years old and being like, I'm going to have, Selena Gomez sing one of my songs today. And that's how everybody's, like, you have to just sing your own.
It's up to you.
Yeah. So that's how I started. It was like the only way that I could like share what I was doing with my family was to be like, all right, I guess I'm going to like sing this for you guys now. And I did really love it. And I loved having a band through college. It taught me a lot that I think has allowed my career to grow to where it is today, because I think when I'm writing with an artist now, I know how it feels to be able to be up on stage and like have to stand behind every single word that you're saying. Especially if the song is great, like you might have to sing that song for the rest of your career. And like I know what that means.
Well, it's tested in your career, right? Like
yeah.
At one point you're in a group and you end up getting signed, I think, and then you end up like kind of disbanding because you thought your songs could be better.
Yes. We didn't get signed, but I was in like right after college. I was working at Lululemon to save up money, moved to New York with the band with the intention of getting signed. And I was in like the first, I don't remember who it was. It was one of the majors though, and we were sitting at like one of those long tables, and at that awkward moment when they're like playing your song over like the speakers, and you're just sitting there like waiting for it to be over, like kind of looking at people's faces, trying to play it cool. And the whole time I was listening to it, just being like, I can get better. I need to get better. Like, I don't know. I just grew up with a really competitive, like sports-driven family, and I was just listening to it being like, I need to like up the ante here.
What's really motivating that? Is it competitiveness, or is it this idea that you have to stand behind the words that you put out there, and if it's not the best it could be, they're reflective of you for as long as time exists?
I think it's that. I think my dad raised me on some of like the absolute greats, like Dolly Parton, John Prine, whatever, Tom Petty, like John Lennon. I just like really grew up listening to songs that every lyric needed to be there in order for the song to like progress and make sense. And if you took one lyric away, the whole song would fall down. And that's how I always wanted to write music. And I was listening to it, being competitive with myself, just being like, I don't think any of these are remotely as good as I could make them. And they're not like, they don't make me feel the emotion that when I listen to like a great Fleetwood Mac song or a great Tom Petty song or a great Dolly song, like I don't get any of that. And of course, those are like massive shoes to fill that I will probably never fill. But I knew at least like if I go on the road immediately, there cuts in half of my time of like really honing the craft of doing this. So disbanded after that, which was a hard decision, but I knew that I just wanted to get better. And then I just fell so head over heels in love with songwriting and collaborating. And I gave myself a year in New York before I would probably have to move home to Maine. And Back to You was written on like my last week of living in New York, which is so lucky, like so lucky for me. But
how do you get better? Right? When you set out that challenge, like what is the first step you take?
For me, I think collaborating like as much as possible. I think every session for me, even if you feel like you're like having the best year of your writing career, you can learn from every single person in every single session that you do. And if I'm doing 5 sessions a week, sometimes I do 2 a day. Back then I was doing definitely 2 a days all the time. Like you can learn so much so quickly from different people's instincts and stylized like approach and the music that they were raised on. And like I had a big blind spot for R&B. And back in the day I was getting put into sessions like of every genre. And I had to like quickly school myself on like a lot of like country, a lot of R&B, like a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily listening to in my own time all the time. And so I think just being around other creatives helped me a lot. And also just like honestly going on to like guitar tabs online and like really learning chords and lyrics and why I would like really study them. Like why that line hit or like why that felt so good, like rhyming wise. It just like felt like it made that part feel complete. Or like even Max Martin, like why every Max Martin song, the chorus just like takes you, like lifts you somewhere crazy. Like what is he doing there? So I took it pretty seriously.
So what is he doing?
I mean, he's brilliant. It's
crazy.
Like, very technically perfect and like does things that mathematically in my brain I could not compute. But he also is like very gut driven. And you feel that it's like very emotion driven. So I don't know. There's so many techniques, like making sure you don't hit the chorus note like all over the verse and the pre-chorus, so that when you hit that high chorus note, like it feels like you're taking off. Or, I mean, there's so many things like that.
You talk about like writing songs that if you take one lyric out, the song falls apart.
Yeah.
Some people can make the case that like pop music traditionally doesn't have that sort of lyrical integrity or that story integrity. Yeah. How do you bridge the gap between integrity of lyrics and story, but also a catchiness that drives repetitiveness and this desire to crave something over and over again?
I'm still figuring it out, to be honest with you, but it's a really fun puzzle, because I think what's nice about having done like my own album last year and just like really digging into something that like I didn't have to worry if it felt like very like pop or very consumer driven. Like it just felt like I was just writing something that felt good. I don't have to worry if every part is catchy. I can just like do it. It was a really good exercise for me to then go back in with artists that I love working with and be like, okay, what I love about pop music is making things catchy and like trying to find the balance between telling a really honest story and also somehow making sure the melody and like parts of it are, you're going to want to just keep singing them over and over and over again. And it's hard, but when you surround yourself with people that you're inspired by, which I'm lucky enough at this part in my career to do, it's like, it's such a fun puzzle to try to figure it out.
Can you explain to me your role in that puzzle? Like in the room, what's up to you?
It's different every single day, which is why I love my job, because there's truly like every single artist couldn't be more different. It's so different, like what my role is and how the run of the day goes. But
how do you know?
Typical run of the day would be like, it's easy kind of for me to know my role within like 10 minutes of stepping into the session.
Yeah, like are you talking about it or are you just like a feeling?
It's just kind of a feeling. Like if somebody comes in and they're like, if you're like walk up to your best friend, you're just like, and the best friend like immediately can tell you have to vent about something that day.
Yeah.
Then the best friend in that moment is kind of like the catcher of the things that you're saying, right? So if you're just like, this happened and this happened and this, I'm pissed about that and whatever, I'm like, of course we're talking as friends, but I'm also in the back of my mind like understanding like, okay, well this is what we're writing the song about, obviously. And then sometimes there'll be like a phrase that an artist will come in with, or they'll have a concept, or sometimes that's up to me to be like listening to the artist talk and be like, okay, this is obviously what we're doing today, and like what about like this line or this title? It's different every day, but I love the days that feel unpredictable, where like somebody walks in and they're just venting, or I'm venting, and it just like seamlessly just through conversation starts to write itself. Those are like a songwriter's dream days.
Is that, I mean, can we get an example of that? Like let's talk about Tate's album. right?
Oh, I love Tate.
And there's something different there because she challenges you a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's to write lyrics to movement.
Totally, which I'd never thought of or considered. And I told her yesterday I was with her. The first song I ever did with Tate was called 1035.
It's his favorite song.
I love that song. It's so good.
And Ryan Tedder sent me, who's the main collaborator with Tate as well.
Great.
He sent me the music video, and for like months and months and months, I thought it was AI because I knew Tate's writing career. Like I knew Broke Me First. I knew everything. I thought it was an AI person dancing because I was like, there's no way any one person can move like that, surely. And then we ended up doing Greedy together, and I was like, oh no, she dances like that. I get it now. It's like that. But she does challenge me. She's so smart, and she writes really fast, which we were laughing about it last night, that we both are known to be pretty like quick writers in the room, which is fun because it's like hitting the ball back and forth in tennis with somebody. Like when they're hitting it, you have to keep hitting it like twice as hard with them. And it's fun to like try to unlock this thing about how to make something honest, but also something people want to dance to with like, like an early 2000s, like Sierra beat type thing. Like it's a weird puzzle to do, but when you crack it, it's so fun and new feeling.
By the way, she's also deeply competitive and like very like dancer based.
Yeah, she's so driven, and
crazy.
I love that about her.
Can we talk about Greedy?
Yeah.
In specific, are you writing that record to a beat? Are you writing it based on a story and then matching it to production? Like
that one there was like a beat first for sure. I can't remember exactly what was. I think it might have been like the drum. I think Tedder or something like came in with like, I like this groove. Like, what about this? And then pretty quickly they had like the little line that goes, the whole production line that goes through the whole thing, the little synth thing. And then that day was like, honestly, most of my songs that have had the most success have been the days that it just kind of like falls out easily, which is nice. It's like, it just feels like we just like understood it really quickly and just kept going with what felt right. But that one did have a lot of like, we wrote it quickly, but then there was a ton of edits to that. Like the chorus lyric was completely different the day that we wrote it to what it is now.
What was it?
The second I said that, I knew you were going to ask me that. I honestly could probably find it deep in my phone somewhere, but it was not as good as it wasn't as confident, because I think that was like a really cool spot to get to know Tate in as well, because she wasn't like really dancing a lot yet in her sets. She was like, singing and doing the thing. And I think that was a moment where it unlocked, where like, oh, I'm an insane dancer and I'm a phenomenal songwriter and singer. Like I can do all of it in the show. And I think that was like kind of a moment for me, and I'm guessing for her too, where, we realized like, oh, we can like make this a very confident song, because you're going to be like, you should be dancing to this and you should be like showing everybody like every part of you. And yeah, I don't know. It definitely became way more confident as we kept editing it, which is fun.
Is there a through line to the timeless records you've created that you've been able to identify yet? Because you talk about things just falling out of you.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think that's all really coming from? Like, was there like tangible conversation in the room that's giving you that? Was it something that you kind of felt was subconsciously placed?
It's hard to say. The days that I like think about songs that, for me, like for example, Adore You, for me that was like it just felt like so nice to write that song, because up until then in my career, I had like Without Me and Back to You, and songs that felt like pretty like melancholy sentiment. Like it was sad. It felt, and to me, I took songwriting so seriously, where I was like, if it's not heartbreaking and people aren't wanting to like cry to it, then like, what are we doing?
What's the point?
Why are we even here? And I think it was really nice for me to have a song like Adore You, because my mom was mostly happy because she's like, my daughter's not depressed, thank God. But it was like the first song I ever had come out on the radio where people wanted to like dance to it and made people feel good. And I think all I think about when I look back on the songs that have had success that I've been a part of, I'm like, they came from a moment of like very, like a lot of honesty and what I needed in that moment. And I feel like with Adore You, like I really needed personally a song that was like exciting and happy at that point in my life and in my career. And I think Harry wanted that as well too. And it was really fun to make that with him. And Without Me and Back to You, I was going through like very sad moments in my life where I was like letting go of somebody or moving through heartbreak and trying to be over it when I wasn't. And they all just kind of feel like moments of like deep honesty. And I feel like that's probably very obvious that like the ones that connect are the ones that felt the most like near and dear to me. But that is kind of the truth of it.
How does it feel to know that those deep moments in your life that turn into records are so understood by another artist that they want to embody it and bring it to life again for as long as time will ever exist.
It feels good. And honestly, the thing that feels the best is to know, like, also for, like, I did a song with Harry called Matilda.
Of course.
And that is probably one of the songs I get hit up about the most on, like, Instagram from fans just being like, the song that you and Harry did together, like, and Tom and Tyler, like, that song is like, I needed that. Thank you. That is like resonates with me on this deepest level. And so many people have like personal stories of how they relate to it. So it feels good to make that with the artist. And then it also feels like exponentially amazing to like see it have a ripple effect amongst a large population of people that need that. And I feel like that, because the songwriting industry and music industry can be very like grueling at times and feel a little bit soulless. Those are the moments that I'm like, oh no, I love what I do.
Where did the lyrics for Matilda originate?
Harry came in with a story that was personal, and I loved it, and I immediately understood it because we all, you know, like family and friends, we all have things that are tough to move through, and home versus like being away from home. I feel like everybody can relate to it, and he really led, you know, like the story of it, and I just related so wholeheartedly, and that one came really easily. It was fun.
Was there a lyric that started it?
I don't remember. I don't remember what the first lyric was, but I remember feeling like so elated when we finished the chorus because it just felt like one of those few times where you're like, exactly the way we wanted to say it, we said it. And it wasn't like, there weren't like a ton of frills. It wasn't overthought. It wasn't overwritten. It was just like, oh, we said it. And like, that's exactly how it should be.
It was meant to be said.
Yeah, I guess so.
Adore You. How does that begin?
My God, we're digging deep back. I'm like trying to jog these memories.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, Adore You, honestly, is like, there's so many memories I had of that day, meeting Harry and just being so excited. I was like, how could we ever possibly write a sad song on like the first day that I get to meet Harry Styles? I'm like, that's not going to happen. You know, I'm like so excited. I felt like he was in a really exciting part in his career, and he was with two of his best friends, Tyler and Tom, in the room. So I don't know. And he just has such an infectious energy that like, I don't remember if one of the guys just like started playing, you know, a riff on the guitar and then that one just kind of came out. But I just remember like the core memory I have of that day is that we were like all dancing around a room, and it was instantly from the second we were all in there, just like very high energy, great vibes.
What is Harry's special skill in that studio? Like, what does he bring that you haven't been able to see from another artist?
So, I mean, he's a phenomenal songwriter, and he's really in touch with himself, and he knows exactly what he wants and what he likes. And I think as a songwriter, that is like a dream come true when an artist is like really sure in themselves and knows wholeheartedly like the type of project that they're making and the type of artist that they are. And he, like I said, he's just like, he has a way of just like instantly connecting with somebody and making them, you know, like you feel like you can open up to him immediately. And I felt like that. And it just allows for such a creative environment when an artist is able to do that, because a lot of times artists are really, and there's nothing wrong with it, I get it. Like walking into a room with somebody you barely know and like baring your soul is terrifying.
Yeah, reserved.
So a lot of artists are, you know, very reserved and afraid to do that. And Harry's, with at least our chemistry, I just enjoyed him so much for being open and honest and knowing himself the way that he does.
Now, what is it about you? Do you think that people feel comfortable opening up and kind of bearing it all and laying it?
I think a little bit like what we said earlier, the fact that, you know, I can play instruments. I was in a band. I've been in bands. Like I understand more than just like the person that's in the corner, like writing to themselves. Like I know how to work with people. I've worked with people my whole life, and I have two older sisters. So I've been like, I grew up like kind of being a listener and like a receiver of information. And then like my outlet would be going and writing. And so I'm kind of used to both. Like I'm used to being a listener, and I'm used to being like the talker. I don't know. I've thought about it a lot.
Are you a better listener, or are you a better?
I've definitely become like I think a much better like active listener throughout my career, because you need to be like, to be a songwriter. Of course, I think people always just think about like your output, but as a songwriter, your input is like what you're taking in is just as important. Like it needs to be so much, like the chords and the story that's happening, and like processing like what out of that whole 2-hour-long story that the artist just told is like the thing, that like the through line that is worth talking about. Like there's a lot of just like processing and then knowing how to stay on track. But I love writing. I mean, I don't know. I'm both, I guess. I'm a listener and I'm a doer because I love writing. That's what I've always loved to do.
When you work with an artist you've already had success with, do you guys feel like the need to top what you've already done? Because when you have like the songs that you've done with Sabrina or Tate or Harry, like they're so big. Like how do you continue to top that?
I think what I love about those three artists in particular is that they love music as much as I love music. And I think the love of music and the love of like being excited in the room while you're making it trumps the success that the other things have had. Like it trumps the fear of not being able to top it. For instance, like, Please, Please, Please. Like when you listen to that song, if anybody went into that room trying to be like, we're writing a number one today and here it is, like that would never happen. That song that doesn't sound like anything that's ever been a number one in pop radio as long as I've been alive. So you can just tell by listening to that song, like all three of us were in that room that day writing because we love to write and we love being like, you know, pushing the boundaries of like what a pop song can be and just having fun and following like the gut instinct. So of course that can happen. That does happen. I've fallen into that hole thousands of times where I'm like, well, this is on the radio and like this is what feels in vogue right now. Like maybe we should do this today. And anytime I listen back to songs that were written from that headspace, they're like absolute trash. Like so bad. So bad.
You need to set what is in fashion, as you have numerous times over.
You got to think ahead.
Totally.
You just have to do what you would want to listen to. I think that is like such an obvious thing, but it feels really like so many people don't connect. I didn't connect those dots forever. I was in this class in college where it was like a pop writing class. You had to be like...
With Kara DioGuardi.
Yes.
Fuck
and
off.
I got my ass handed to me in that class because I was failing every class at Berklee anyways. So I was like holding on by a thread trying to get through that class. But I remember every song I would just get like ripped apart because I was trying to write what I thought would be cool. And like I never once wrote a song in that class where I was like, oh, I would listen to this. It's weird. Because I have a lot of friends now that are still writers that I write with all the time that were in that class with me. And sometimes they'll like send the songs around and I'm like, oh my God. Like, of course it's natural to get better. But I can just listen to them and be like, oh, that was coming from a place of like such insincerity from me. I was only trying to like impress the people in the class and try to like write what was on pop radio at that time, which is like number one no.
When does that change for you? When does that shift happen?
The shift happened for me when I stopped being working with the band and I just like sat down in my room and was like, okay, going back to what I love. Like who were the artists? What were the songs that made me fall in love with music and learn them and just like shed them on guitar all day, every day and like really figure out why those songs stick with me and what's going on. And I didn't listen to pop radio for like, honestly, a few years. Like, of course, walking outside, you hear pop songs everywhere, but I like wouldn't listen to what was in my own time on like Spotify. And I still try not to. Like right now, I told you I'm like obsessed with the new Doja Cat album, and I will listen to that for a long time. But it's good for my headspace to like not be filling it with what's happening right at this moment in pop music. Because like then you're just gonna put that out, and then you're behind the ball, and it's not, it's just like I can't try to make a Doja Cat song. Doja Cat's doing the Doja Cat song,
We are what we are around, whether we like to admit it or not.
Totally.
And it's just it's natural, right? So those things are going to seep into your subconscious and make it out into the art you create. So
it's like you are what you eat.
100%.
It's that vibe.
For real. But by cutting it off allows you to be in a different creative space on a different wavelength.
Totally.
And allows you to dictate it.
Yeah.
Well,
sick.
How do you know if something's good then? Like you mentioned Please, 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 and nothing really sounds like that. How did you guys know like you had something there?
I knew that song was amazing because the second we finished it, I was like, I was in New York and I was just like, walked the whole way home, sang it the whole way home. The next morning, woke up, was still singing it. I was like, I don't care if anybody fucks with this. I fuck so hard with this song. Like, I love it. But like I said, like, there are people that I work with that can call like hits. If they hear it, they're like,
they know.
That's a hit. They know. I cannot do that. But I do know what I like, and I immediately loved that song.
You learned in Berklee to work in fours.
Yeah, on the Kara class, yeah.
In that session you worked...
Fours or like eights. Sometimes there was like 8 of us in a room, like 4 producers, 4 writers trying to write like one song, which is an absolute nightmare.
But you would keep that kind of rule as you move forward, right? You usually work in groups of 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, Please, Please, Please was 3.
Mm-hmm.
Who's pushing who in that room, and how are you pushing each other?
I mean, like I said, every day's so different. That day in particular, I mean, what I love about Jack is he's so curious as a producer. Like there are no rules. He's not confined by anything. And he's just like full emotion driven when he's playing chords and picking up different instruments. And Sabrina is one of the most talented people I think I will ever meet in my life in terms of like storytelling and songwriting and melodically. Like she just inspires me so much, and we just have so much in common. That day was just like so fun because we weren't trying to do anything. If we were trying to top, what was happening in pop radio that day, we would have written a very different song. And what I love about all the people that I work with right now that are winning is like, I'm like, all of them work so hard. So hard. And
it's deserved.
It's so deserved. And it's like, hard work isn't overrated. I feel like we like kind of grew up being like, it's not cool to work hard. Like you're talented or you're not. And I'm like, no, you can be talented and also have the craziest work ethic. And like those are the people that win and should win.
And by the way, you do all that work to make it look effortless.
Yeah,
and to make it look so deeply.
And then it kind of at some point does become effortless, where like all of that hard work when I'm in the room with her, I'm like, all of that is paying off. All of the shows she's playing, all of the interviews that she's doing, I'm like, she has like knows exactly who she is. She knows exactly what her intentions are and what her instincts are. Like it's so, every single second of that is worth it for her career and where she is right now. And I couldn't be more proud of her.
My heart is super warm, dude. Like it really, that makes me, it makes me,
Oh.
no, it's like really cool to see people.
Yeah.
And we've been in this really unique seat at this culture table for a while.
Yeah.
And like to watch people genuinely like give so much of themselves into something.
Yeah.
And to see it over time really pay off in ways that have ripple effects that are immeasurable.
Totally.
You'll never be able to fully grasp the impact, really, of any of the music you've ever made and what it's done to people's lives.
Yeah.
Really, it's such a crazy craft.
I appreciate that sentiment. Yeah, it is.
It's very special.
It is special.
It's wild.
It is.
I love your work with John Bellion, by the way.
Oh, I love John.
He's another
I've
one.
learned a lot from John.
Yeah, well, like what? He's amazing.
So many things. I mean, I think I met John at a really important part in my career because it was kind of at a place when I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'd been doing it for maybe like 2 or 3 years. I'd had a couple songs that had done well, and I felt like that I was still living in West Hollywood, and I feel like I was just really caught up in the industry of it all. Like everywhere I went was music industry people, and everybody was always talking about songwriting, and I just felt like very consumed by it in a way that was affecting me mentally. I just felt like I need to meet. He came into my life at a moment where I needed to meet somebody that loved music the way that John loves music, and is driven by music, and like eats, sleeps, and breathes it. And is also just like a normal person, like not this like weird character who like you can't relate to. Like John is the most just like no bullshit. Here I am. I'm just like you vibe, and I needed that.
Music is John's home, and John Bellion feels like home to those he comes in contact with.
1,000%. He immediately felt like an older brother to me, and we did a ton of songs together, and we did Graveyard together by Halsey. We did a bunch of stuff together.
You did the Rosé record, right?
Yep.
On the Ground?
On the Ground. We did this Luke Combs record that is John's that came out this year called Why. Like I just love John. I think he is one of the most prolific people out there right now and has been for a really long time. And he does everything on his own time and in his own way, and I couldn't respect him more for doing it like that.
Is there any part of you that like thinks about how to, because you in your own way are prolific, right? And you've had an incredible career. Do you think or stress about how to stay ahead? Because like to your point, John's been ahead for a long time.
Yeah. I think for like the past 2 years, I've realized every songwriter I feel like has their own ebb and flow of like what works the best for them for their output. So I work with some people that will work 5 days a week and they'll do doubles every day of those 5 days, and they're chill. I can't do that. And I also work with people that work twice a week, and then they're like, okay, that is my best output is when I do 2 days a week and then take 5 days off. And I think mine is not that. I wish mine was that. That sounds amazing. Mine is 5 days a week. I don't do doubles, and I stop working at like 6:30 p.m. every single night. And I think I've gotten a lot better at sticking to that and like refining that in the past 1.5, 2 years. One, because I'm allowed to. I've like afforded now more to like take some more time off. And, if the artists that I'm working with are not writing right now, maybe I just don't write right now too. Like instead of just being like, right, well, who's in the room? Who can I go get in with today? If I'm much less of that. And it's helped me a lot, I think. Like, I feel like I'm living life a lot more than I was a few years ago, which as a songwriter, like, what the hell are you going to write about if you're not living life?
It's literally the only thing you got.
Yeah. So I think that's helped me a lot. And in terms of staying on top, like, I don't know, like Max Martin and Ryan Tedder, I'm like, they've been doing it for decades at this point. And I'm just like, the only thing I can really ever require of myself is to like always find a way to stay in love with music. Because if I fall out of it, I'm like, I'm not going to do it anymore. You know, who wants to hear a song that's written by somebody that hates music?
Real.
No one. So I think that's kind of my life goal for the next, like, I don't know, however many years I'm writing. It's just like, whatever I have to do to stay in love with it is what I'm going to do. And that's kind of how I feel about it.
What part of making music feels like work, if anything?
Ooh. Sometimes people want to do nighttime sessions, and I'm like, that feels like work to me. Nighttime sessions really are hard for me. And it's funny because I feel like anytime I do, if they're like, let's start at 5 p.m., I'm like,
who wants to do these things?
Oh, you wouldn't believe how many people want to do these things. I'm like, what is everybody doing till 5 p.m.?
I mean,
why do we want to start writing a song at 5 p.m.? But so that feels like work because then I'm like, okay, I got to buckle in. I got to do something I really don't want to do. But other than that, like, honestly, not a lot. Every songwriter can attest to the feeling where you're like 4 hours into a session and nothing good has been written. And you're just like, all I want to do is like go home right now because we're not going to get something. And then sometimes you start a new idea and that I've had so many songs come out that end up doing really well that were like the Hail Mary of that day. Where like we wrote for 6 hours, nothing happened. And then like the last hour, oh my gosh, honestly, probably 50% of them. I couldn't even name, but like so many of them happen like that. So many of them. And I think also that's what makes songwriting like a bit addicting because it's like kind of like it's like being at a lottery machine or something. You're like, you just really never know when like the chemistry or everything's going to align for like the thing to make sense and for it to get written. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
I see the addicting part of it.
Yeah.
Because like it is true. Like if you choose to show up, there's a chance that you can make $1 million.
Totally.
Quite fucking literally.
That's like on Friday, for instance, I'm supposed to be doing a session and they need to push the start time, but I'm supposed to be flying to London at 8 p.m. So I'm like, you know, it's like, do I not go? But then there's this chance that if I don't go, they write the hit that day and then I wasn't there and I could. It's like that happens to me probably 3 times a month.
Real FOMO.
Yeah. And I've gotten better at it. It used to keep me up at night and I used to like always just blow off whatever I had to do to make sure I was there so I wouldn't miss the opportunity. And I pat myself on the back for those years of doing that because I think it's gotten to me where I am today. But also I'm like, you know, it's okay sometimes to be able to say no and just be like, I can't make it.
Yeah, 100%. And some could make the case that that's like a little bit of a trauma response, like needing to be there.
There's a lot going on.
God forbid it goes away.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah.
For sure.
Has there been a moment where you ended up not being able to make a session and they got a hit?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Definitely. I mean, I don't know about a lot, but I'd say like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, for sure. That's happened with Tate before. I can't remember what the song was, but I remember Tedder and Tate were like, album's done, like, we're good. And I was like, okay, great. And I was like out of the country or something. And then Tedder was like, we're going to work tomorrow. And I was like, I'm in, Paris or something. I don't know where I was. And I was like, well, fuck, I guess I'm not going to make it. And then I don't know what they did, X's or something, like a huge Tate song, which is amazing. And they're phenomenal. They don't need me in that room that day. But that happens all the time.
Can we talk about bands?
Let's talk about bands.
You want to work with more bands.
I do. I hate that there's not more bands to work with right now.
Do you think you can like find one and like work with them and like build them from nothing?
Yeah, that's been on my like wanting to do list for a really long time.
I'm gonna start sending you people from TikTok.
Send them away. I'm ready. The problem is like a lot of bands just like, why would they bring in a songwriter? There's already like 5 people to appease in it. It's like it's a hard thing to like get to enter the mix, but I will say the bands that I've worked with.
Worth it.
So fun. So fun. Like I did a lot with Royal Otis this year and I loved them. And it was so seamless and like we just had instant chemistry. And I wish that there was 10,000 bands to work with because I would spend all of my time doing that. That is like my pride and joy.
So, like, would you start a label or something like that?
I think so. I've thought about that because I'm not going to want to be writing, when I'm like 50, 60 years old. I feel like at that time I'll be writing like passion things, like, you know, at that point. But I'm like, I think the next eventual thing, if I'm still loving music and I want to find a way to be inspired and in it somehow, is like, would be like signing people that I think are like the voice of the generation that, you know, I could somehow, I don't know, like help in some way or mentor or something like that.
I think you could add so much value. And by the way, I think you could add a
Let
lot
them
of
know.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, there is this like obvious tension between like bands and like, right, there's already so many members and like this idea of being indie and doing it on their own and kind of keeping everything. There is a case to be made that, you know, bringing Amy Allen into the mix could really change somebody's life. I don't know.
I mean,
let's talk.
Shooting my shot.
I mean, there's a bunch of people whose lives changed post your records. It is a crazy thing.
It's fun. It's been very fun. And my life has changed from so many of these records. Truly.
What is the biggest way your life has changed, you think?
In
both personal and professional, because they're two separate things. So it could be two ways your life has changed.
I think my life has changed a lot by being proud of what I'm doing. I think for a really long time, especially being in like a creative industry, it's really hard sometimes to be able to feel proud about what you're doing because there's no like finish line. There's no like, okay, you got here now, like you've done the thing. It's just kind of like it keeps going and people keep getting better and you have to keep evolving and there's no, you know, it feels like you're at school and there's constant homework. Like there's always the next thing to do. And I think, I don't know, it took me a long time, but maybe like a year and a half ago, I started feeling like I set out to do something and I've like really feel like I'm doing it. And that more than like financial success or more than like hearing songs on the radio that I've been a part of, I'm like, that makes me feel really grateful that I can make myself feel proud and my family is like, okay, we're glad that she pursued this and we are proud of her. And I just feel like I can go home and I'm like, you know, on my way to being like a fulfilled person. You know, I feel just like confident in my career right now, which is really nice.
That's beautiful. Is what you set out to do exactly what you accomplished?
I mean, there's always more things that I want to accomplish, of course. There's many things on that list. But I think, so far, like what my life is right now, if you had asked me, you know, what's your dream life when I was like 12 years old, if you had told me this would be it, I would have like never, ever, ever in a million years believed you. I would have been like, that doesn't exist. There's no way. So I feel very grateful that I've been able to like carve out a career that I feel like fulfilled by.
What did it mean to win Songwriter of the Year at the Grammys?
Oh, I mean, honestly, having my family be there it meant so much to me to have that moment with the artists that I work with, that like songs that we got to create together that have like soundtracked to the lives of people like all over are being seen, and you know, there's that moment of like mutual respect there, which felt really good. But mostly it was the fact that my parents, I went to BC for nursing school first before I transferred to Berklee College of Music, and my whole family was a little bit rocked by the decision, as you would be. Yeah. Like I was on like a clear path and I was like, I think I want to do music, Mom and Dad. So I feel like having them be there and having a moment, they were already proud of me, but like having a moment where I got to have with them to be like, I said I was going to do the thing and I've really done the thing now. It felt really nice for me. And it just felt nice to be able to like share the weekend with them. They all are like still back in Maine, so to come out to LA and like go to the Grammy parties with me and like they just had like the best fucking time ever, and I loved having them there.
What would you say to an artist right now who's like focused on pursuing their own career but also could potentially be a songwriter and like maybe doesn't have the ability to want to see that present and future for themselves, but also like can't put their ego in the right place to maybe do it?
To transition from like artist to songwriter?
Yeah, because...
And it's hard. A lot of people struggle with it. Like I have so many friends that are songwriters that started out as art. Most of us, like I said, it's like kind of your only vessel to like get going. And it's a different journey for everybody. For me, it felt pretty seamless and exciting. And now I know like I did last year, if I want to take 6 months off and just like make a record, I can do that. And like that fulfills that for me. Some people need to like go on a full tour and feel like their music is reacting to feel fulfilled by it. And I get that too. Like when you love music as deeply as we all do, like it feels really, you know, there's certain things that you want to tick off that make it feel like you're like putting out and you're getting back what you're putting into it. But I would say make sure that you love writing the songs, because it's also like not a path to go down if the whole time you're doing it you're gonna be like, I would fucking wish it was me up on stage, like it is a very different career path. You still get to be in the studio, but as an artist, being in the studio is just one part of it, and then you're on tour and you have to be doing interviews all the time, and you have to keep up this like I'm doing right now, but you have to, it's so much different path.
Totally.
So I always say, like, if you love songwriting, of course, like, you should be songwriting all the time. But to fully go down the path of, like, a songwriter for others, it is, you are giving up a piece of your artistry if your artistry is, like, performing and being the face of it. Like, you are, of course.
And to a certain degree, you're giving up a part of your story, right? Like,
yeah, of course. And you have to be okay with that, And it takes a second. I remember the first time I heard, I think it was, like, Baby Back to You on the radio, and that was such a personal story for me, that song. Like, it came from, like, a really hard thing that I was going through at that moment. And to hear it on the radio, I had maybe, like, a day of being, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, that feels really wild. Like, this part of me is, like, existing in the world, but it's not even yours. It's not mine anymore. Yeah. And
well, it's not even Selena's, too, because she just gave it away, too.
Yeah, it's interesting, but like Selena could relate to it on such a deep level. So like in so many ways, it is Selena's, and there's nobody else it should have been besides Selena's at that moment. But it is a moment, but you have to get used to it. You have to sit with it for a second and process what it means. And then I think it took maybe like a year of like sitting with it and continuing to write for other people and hear songs coming out, and then it clicked where I was like, getting to see an artist perform in front of like 100,000 people and everybody's singing those words back. I'm like, I don't love being on stage enough for me to not be doing what I'm doing. And the brilliant thing about my career as a songwriter is that I get to work with so many artists, and I get to tell stories in like so many genres and in so many different ways. And if you're an artist, you're like, you are the only vessel. You don't get to like go do all the different things that I'm doing all the time. And so I feel grateful for that.
By the way, like, the idea of like that story being yours, and then that song and that story is Selena's. Like, it is her story.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But there's this case that like even when you give that to the world, it doesn't become hers anymore.
Totally. I get that.
She is synonymous with it.
She is.
But that story now is everyone's.
Yeah. Which is amazing. There's like a small part of you that you're like, feel
really,
a little bit like, but then you're like, oh no, so many people get to have this as their story now. Totally. And that's amazing. And yeah, I guess that overrides it. But totally, I get the feeling. It's like, how did I just give away this very intimate part of myself? And now it's just like gone. I've definitely felt that.
Yeah.
So why is it important for you to continue to release your own music? Because your album's great.
Thank you. I don't know when I'll do my next one, if I'll do another one, but I'll do it, like I said, like if I feel like I need to find a way to fall back in love with music and that feels like the way to do that, which is what it was last year for me, then I'll do that for sure. I mean, and I'm always writing songs at home by myself, so maybe one day if I'm just like, fuck, I have like 12 songs that I love that I want to like release, I'll just do it. And the reason why I wanted to make the one last year, one was to like fall back in love with music, because I felt like I was a bit of like I need to like have a thing again that makes me feel connected to it. But also I was like, I want to be an old lady and have something that is just mine. Like I want my grandkids to, of course, like know all of the songs that I've written with other people and for other people. But I also want them to be like, this is my fucking grandma's and this is just hers. Like I feel like, and I'm going to resonate with those songs, I think, forever, because they're so specific to me. I didn't have to like cater them to anybody else in the room at all. So yeah, I think that was really important. And then I did it. And if I want to do it again, I will. But right now I'm chilling on the artist.
And you write this really based on poems, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like doing that does make you a better collaborator, because there is like this like deep lyrical integrity that exists within all the pop songs you write.
Yeah.
And again, it's just it's a needed balance.
Yeah. I think it's just like continuing to be anchored in like why great songs are great songs. And like people want to connect with what they're listening to. Of course, like melody is important. Of course, chords are important. Of course, like catchy production is important. But ultimately, like to me, this is an argument like for everybody, but lyrics are the thing that I'm like
all day.
that is the thing when I'm like 90 years old, I'm like, that fucking lyric still hits me so hard.
That's what resonates.
Yeah.
What is a grocery list song? Can you educate us?
A grocery list song. Oh no, I don't want to get in trouble. Okay,
For
me, a grocery list song is a stream of consciousness song where it's very much like I woke up today and I went to the there's a lot of songs there. The songs I'm talking about. That is a grocery list song, which I like on occasion, but I am like a diehard for, like I've already said, like the Dolly and the Tom Petty's were like, those are crafted. There is no information in there that does not need to be in there. And that's what I'm like a nerd for that shit. Like I ride so hard for it where you're like, that is edited. That is like, it says exactly the emotion without saying anything else to a place where it can just like hit you at the core and everybody knows what you mean. There is, of course, a time and place for a grocery list song where it's like, this person just like word vomiting and like it's to a pretty melody and it feels good and like I get that. But my core love are like crafted, just like honed songs that just like get right to the fucking thing. That's what I love. No shame to the grocery list songs, but they're not my favorite.
Got it. By the way, you can listen to all of Amy Allen's music. It's waiting for you on Amazon Music.
Wow, it really is. Open arms.
Can I ask a question? Obviously, that's what I'm doing.
Please.
How rich are you?
Oh my God, stop.
It's crazy, right?
Well, this is a good time to talk about songwriters in general.
I was going to bring up this was my next point.
I am so grateful and lucky to,
Thank you.
I got to buy my own house, which felt like a really big, exciting thing for me as thank you. As a person that's following their dream, because it's hard to like make money off of chasing a dream sometimes.
And now harder than ever for a songwriter to make a buck.
Totally. So I'm very grateful that I worked very hard and then I got very lucky and that I work with amazing collaborators where I am doing financially well right now. But the really unfortunate thing is that songwriters are always at the bottom of like the food chain in terms of like how people are compensated and how people are respected in the music industry, which is very frustrating because there would be no award ceremonies, there would be no songs on the radio, there would be no charts if like songwriters didn't exist and work their asses off. So some songwriters are doing great and like have benefited off of having some really great big songs, and that's amazing. But especially like the new songwriters and like the new generation, the fresh generation getting going, it is, especially because pitch songs aren't a thing as much anymore because more artists are wanting to be in the room all the time.
And radio is less
and less.
and
It's way harder.
less.
And radio's less. And like, yeah, I got my start off of without me and back to you. And I didn't meet either of those artists for a really long time. And now that is like an arm that's completely cut off of new songwriters. Like there's not, the pitch world has been like, like funneled down to like almost nothing now. So like, how do you get your start if you're a brand new writer? You're just gonna get like popped in the room with a huge artist. Like, doesn't really, it's hard. Or you're just, collaborating with an artist and hope that artist is gaining, traction as you're writing. It's tough. And it's sad to see how songwriters are compensated and like how little respect they're given within the music industry. It needs to get way better.
Yeah, deep reform is vital if we want music to continue, because really what's going to happen is nobody's going to pursue songwriting, and then music in and of itself will really cease to exist the way we know it. And one of the common threads that exists between like you and Justin Tranter is a lot of your hits were incredible human being. A lot of your hits were based around radio hits.
Yeah.
Right? And radio, people may not know this, but really technically, if you look at it next to a DSP, it pays the highest royalties.
Definitely.
So you can really make money. With those two songs in particular, Back to You, I mean, come on, that was like at a time where these songs were being played on the radio every hour of every day on pop and hot AC stations, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then streaming just supplemented it. But now, if you're going to be a songwriter, and even if you do hit your cart to a great artist that's on the rise, the streams don't pay the bills still.
No.
And
it's wild.
An album cut, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Back in the day,
that was everything.
If you were a writer back in 2001 and you wrote like the deepest Backstreet Boys cut, you're good for like life. Now, if I were to get like a Rihanna deep cut, like any of the biggest artists you can think of,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't. If it doesn't go to radio, you're as a songwriter, like you're not getting paid. Whereas a producer, you're getting points, you're getting a producer fee, you're getting.
It's crazy.
It's like it's a completely and you're getting equal publishing that the songwriter gets, which is a thing that has always been a thing. It's the status quo, and it's sometimes reflective of what happened in the room, and it's oftentimes not. So it's tough as a songwriter. Just like you really are not set up to make money at all, which is tough.
Deep reform needed right now.
Yeah.
And there are people who are working to do it. Sona.
Ross Golan.
Yeah, Ross Golan's amazing.
He's amazing.
But Sona is a great group of
yeah, Sona's phenomenal.
They advocate for all the songwriters here in North America. It's just vital.
Very vital. I'm having a tutor session with Ross Golan right after this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like because of course I know a lot about it, but he to me is like right now in music the person that I'm like, tell me, just like I really just need to like learn the deepest amount that I can learn about this, so that when I go in to interviews and when I'm talking, I can like do it as I can give the answer like as directly and easily understandable to everybody, like what the issue is and how we can start to fix it. Because I feel like once people start talking about like master and points and it's like people get a little bit lost. I get lost in the sauce sometimes where I'm like, wait, I'm confused. And I need to be able to articulate it perfectly, and Ross can. So I'm doing tutoring sessions with him right now just so I can speak about it as eloquently as possible.
No, because these conversations is ultimately what brings about change, and people should know that music as you know it and enjoy it today is like genuinely at risk. Like it's just true. Like,
and especially as like a young songwriter, you're brought into this thing where you're like, oh my God, I'm doing my dream job. Like I will take whatever. If I write a song and then there's like the song comes out and I did it with 2 other people in the room, and then the song comes out and there's like 9 other names on the credits, which happens all the time. Like you're taught to just be like, okay, like can't rock the boat, can't say anything, where like that's really so messed up because your publishing is just getting hacked and hacked and hacked and hacked down, and the producer's just like, just bringing in their friends or whoever those people come about from, and it's really tough. And I didn't learn to advocate for myself and like stand up for those positions until like 2 years ago. Even like, having big songs, you would think songwriters wouldn't get like, hustled around like that. And it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
I also never thought about that. Like you could be in the studio working with someone who's like a good friend of yours, and then it's like, okay, now how do we do splits? And that's when you mix like the business and the friends, and things can get messy. And
you guys like leave, and it gets worked out later sometimes.
It's usually the standard is like, if we were to be writing a song right now, even if I wrote the whole thing and you guys were kind of chatting, equal splits, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's never like, well, I wrote the chorus and you did. It's never really that. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would start World War III all the time. But the annoying thing is if we 3 write a song and then a song comes out and you guys brought in like 2 of your buddies and gave publishing to them without telling me, that's when it gets frustrating for songwriters. And we're told to be like, well, the producers usually have a lot more, like say why, I don't know, but they do. So that just happens all the time. Whereas if I ever did that, it would be like the song would just be deaded and wouldn't come out. Yeah. Like that would be unheard of for a songwriter to be like, well, I just brought like 2 of my buds and now they're songwriters. Like that wouldn't happen. Dude. It's crazy. I know. Anywho, I could go on all day.
All the time. They do it all the time.
It's all the time.
Oh, you got to listen to Amy's music. Obviously, it's on Amazon Music. Go. Dan Nigro and Olivia Rodrigo.
Love. Heart and soul.
How did they stretch you and challenge you creatively?
I think for me, that was such a fun room to go into and continue to go into with them because their chemistry is like electric. Like they lock in together in a way that is so beautiful and amazing and natural. And so to be like the foreign entity that's brought into that could have been hard and weird. And I think figuring out my place, because, Olivia is a phenomenal writer and Dan is a great writer too and a phenomenal producer. And like they don't need a third party in there, but to be asked to go in there because they like what I do and get to do what I do and be a part of it, that was, I think, such a learning experience, just figuring out how to fit within their like very tight-knit, beautiful, like, chemistry that they have and figuring out how I can do what I do within it. And
how'd you fit
I
in?
learned so much from her. Olivia is a storyteller that I think is exactly what I was saying, where it's like there's nothing that's said that doesn't need to be said. The first time I heard Driver's License, I was like, oh, this girl is like telling the story start to finish. Not the hard thing about songwriting is you can go off onto these different tangents and then find yourself somewhere where you should not be to tell the story that you're trying to tell. And she just like tells it really seamlessly and directly and beautifully. And is very profound and prolific. And I learn from her all the time with that. Like I learned from Driver's License because that chorus is this like evolving chorus where like it just keeps going, where in my brain I would have like had a cadence. I would have like ended it way sooner than it ends. And my pop brain was like, wait, this is still, we can't keep going. We can't, there can't be more lyric and lyric and lyric. And it's like, that's what makes that song brilliant. And that's why somebody is like her is always inspiring to me, because they're coming from a place of like, they're not being confined to the rules, because she was just making that song in her room and like doing what felt right. And that spoke to everybody. And that's why sometimes knowing the rules is like, you need to break them all the time.
Dude, knowing the rules is sometimes like the worst thing.
The worst thing.
And I like think about that like as a kid, like growing up and like figuring my shit out. Like the only reason I got here is because like I didn't know rules.
Yeah.
Like I had
same.
Yeah. Like
I mean, I went to Berklee and I don't know any music theory, which is embarrassing. My parents probably don't want to hear that. But like I do think it helped me in a way, because I'm like, I'm not confined to being, well, this chord must come after this chord because this is like the natural progression of what that, and I'm just like, I just kind of roll with it, which is what you do too. And it's just like your gut is, I usually feel like what people connect to.
Pretties and Pretty. How'd your gut come through?
I love that song. That's like the type of song, as a songwriter, you like dream of having that type of song, because it's a really hard subject to write about. Like talking about like being a woman and like what it means to live up to like beauty standards and what it means to be like a coming of age person in an industry that can be really cruel and competitive. And there's so many things. Or if you're not in that industry and you're just like I was growing up in Maine as like, 18-year-old being like, fuck, like everybody's always like looking a certain way. And I feel like these crazy standards to like be a certain way or do something. And that is one of those sentiments as a songwriter that's really hard to write without it being like preachy or like, I don't know, like kitschy or whatever. And I was really grateful that I got to do that with Olivia and Dan, because it just came out exactly how I would have dreamed that would come out, which is just like honest and real and like, just like you were saying it to a friend, which I really appreciate. And I feel like it can resonate with a lot of young people, because it is like, especially with social media and all this shit these days, I'm like, if I was 18 coming up in like with TikTok right now, I think I would have been derailed 9,000 times by now.
Yeah.
Like, what? I feel like all we really had to like do was compare ourselves to like our classmates and like people in like movies. And now
that was
like,
enough.
That was enough. I was like, 10 things I hate about you. I was like, I got to live up to that beauty standard. And now I'm like, now you look back at those girls and you're like, they were like, like that's not like so beautiful. But now everybody looks like alien beauty, like insane, and it's just, I don't know. I was really grateful to have that moment with her, because I think it's a really important message, like right now more than ever.
How'd that song begin? Was it a lyric? Was it a message? Was it a...
Definitely from Olivia talking about, just, I don't know, being a woman right now in the world, and which I can obviously relate to. So, yeah. And like just her references of who she loves to listen to, and how she loves rock, and so many things that I grew up listening to and I love. Like a lot of like 90s women rock is like that's like my pride and joy. So, yeah, I don't know. That day was fun.
You've made some incredible music. You're an incredible artist.
Thanks, friend.
You're very special. It's really wild. It's pretty cool.
I feel like we should do this every week.
We could. You can come hang. You have enough music that we could actually do it. It is crazy. Do you know how many songs you've like created at this point in time?
No, I'm scared.
Thousands, right?
Like written or have come out?
Written.
Do you know what your voice memos are? The app in your phone?
Yeah. What do you got?
Right now, I think I'm at like 14,000.
Do I know what
just on this phone alone, and like I didn't carry over my last one, so I'm like, the songs. It's dark to think. And that's why I feel people don't know about songwriters. I'm like, you can be the biggest songwriter in the world and have maybe like having like 3 big radio songs that year. Biggest songwriter in the world. That would be a year for that person. And like, I'm probably writing 250 songs a year, more. Like when you think about the batting average for the best, it's bad. Yeah, like all of our batting averages are really bad when you think about it. Like, but it's also not that the songs are bad. It's that, well, some of them, a lot of mine are really bad. But like, there's so many hoops. It's not just having a great song. It's like the artist has to love it just as much as you love it, and the team has to love it just as much as you love it. And there has to be like a right time in that artist's touring schedule where they have to be putting the song, like it's so many.
You need so many things to connect.
Everything has to connect, and then the public has to be ready to connect with it, or not ready, and it just has to take them by surprise and hold them in a chokehold and make them connect with it. But it's so many things.
But when you have a song that's as big as Espresso, does that just make the whole year feel like a win?
I mean, for every songwriter, that's probably different. For me, I was like, hell yeah, I love that song. I love that that's connecting. To have Please, Please, Please come like immediately after it and also connect in like an amazing way was one of the highlights of my career, because I just felt like, I could have a song that is so pop and so like exactly what you want to hear on pop radio, and it's connecting in the way that I could, and also just like very witty and fun, which is not something a lot of people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then have Please, 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 which is like there's key changes and it's like super melodic and very different than Espresso, and both connect in the same couple of months. That to me is like, I'm like, I love what I do, and I'm feel like I'm doing a good job at it right now.
By the way, artists have come on our show and said that you need to write like 100 songs before you can get one song that you give a shit about.
I'd say like 1,000. 10,000 for me. I mean, give a shit about, or being like that's objectively like
good.
That's saying something that's good.
Wow.
It took me a lot.
When you're writing Espresso, was there a lyric that stands out that made you laugh?
Oh my God, so many. Of course, all of it. That was like a dream session, because I can't even think of one moment where we weren't laughing. And the thing that's really fun about writing songs like that is a lot of time it's the lyric that somebody says where you're like, it can't be, that would be crazy. Like that can't go in the song. And then those are the lyrics that people love the most,
Totally.
And especially with Sabrina, she does all the funny like ad-libs in between too, which make all the lines like hit even harder. She's just like constantly putting her sense of humor into the song, which is, to me, like 8 years ago, I would have been like, that's too smart. Like the general public are like not going to get that. It's too smart. And I think a huge learning experience for me in the past, since working with Sabrina, really is like, oh no, like the general public is way smarter than you give them credit for.
Oh, totally.
And I feel like learning pop music and like even at school, we were kind of taught like dumb everything down a little bit. You got to cater to the like lowest common denominator. Like don't be too clever with it. Like key changes or asking too much, like, things like that. And now I feel like I've learned in the past couple of years, like, oh no, like the more boundaries you can push, the more you can like really push the general public to like be like, what is that? Why do I like that? Why is that? Oh my God, that's hilarious. Like, or oh my God, that just like, not even, if they don't even know what a key change is, but like, oh, I just like lifted. Something just lifted.
Totally.
It's like, that's what people love. And that's why I love the pop music world right now, is because there's so many artists that are like really challenging the general public and what they like and why they like it.
And it's the
exciting.
way it should be done.
Totally.
But also it's like a generational shift too. I think this lowest common denominator thing was something that people really went with. Again, like 8 years ago, 10
years ago. And it worked for a while.
Totally.
But now I'm like, people want more. People like really want to know who you are and why if you're an artist, like, why are you an artist? If you're writing a song, why are you writing it? Like, what are you saying? Why do you have something to say?
It's been amazing having you here. Really. Really cool. Final thoughts?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I have one more question. I know there's like no such thing as like a bad idea, but how do you deal with bad ideas?
I mean, okay. Real talk.
Yeah.
There's like a thing. Okay, there is no bad idea, because sometimes somebody will say something and my brain will be like, absolutely not that. But then it'll make my brain be like, oh, but actually I didn't think about it that way. And even though that's clearly not like the lyric that is going to go in the song, that just like kind of took me somewhere else. Where I'm like, oh no, yeah. But of course, there's like tons of tactics of how to do that. If somebody says something that is just, if we're writing a song about like a house is on fire, whatever, and then somebody is just like, oh yeah, and there's like, my dog is like really sick today. What about that line? Like just something that like makes no sense.
No.
Yeah. You want to just be like, no. And when I work with my friends, we are kind of like that with each other. We're like, nah. But when it's somebody new, I'm like, I love that. Because I do love that. I love that they are relating to it in a way, and they had a thing about it. And every songwriter can relate to this because this happens. And you're like, what about this? And I feel like so much of being a collaborator and a good songwriter is taking every idea and being like, seeing the value and why that is important to be said and how that can turn and pivot into like something that is, usable for the song. And also like I am the type of songwriter. There's some songwriters that are like very quiet And then all of a sudden they'll say like the most intelligent thing you've ever said that is perfect. And like everybody in the room is just like applause. I'm not that songwriter. No, I have to say like so much dumb shit before anything good comes out. And then once I hit my stride, I'm like, okay, I'm on it now. I get it.
Dust is off.
Yeah, I'm just shake it all off, say some really dumb shit, and then we're locked in. And I like working with people that are like that. So when somebody brings up like a dog when we're writing about like a grandmother dying, I'm like, okay, well, actually, that maybe could go together. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Maybe. I'm just like, I fuck with it when people are like, I'm just going to go out on this limb and just say some weird shit. I actually like it when people do that. It's a good question, though.
You're real. Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing. Have you ever, last question, have you ever walked into a session and just had nothing to say?
For sure. I walk into every session, I would say, in my life. And for the first like 5 minutes, I'm like, don't know how to do this. Don't know why I'm here. Major imposter syndrome. All the time.
Really?
First 5 minutes of most sessions, yeah. Because it's a weird thing. Even no matter how I've been doing it for like, I don't know, 8 years almost now, I'm like, it is a weird thing, especially when it's all new people in the room. You're like, what the fuck are we going to do here? This is crazy. Like, this is actually, we're going to like trauma bond for the next 8 hours? Like, what's happening here? So yeah, I definitely have had so many moments where I'm like, no idea what I'm about to say right now. Absolutely no idea. But then it goes away. I figure it out. Just talk.
Is it on you to bring the room together, or does
Sometimes.
that? Yeah.
A lot of times. Not all the time, but I feel like because I'm not the artist in the room, it is like a part of my role to like make sure that like we're all like, you know, on the same page, and I've got the artist back as much as I humanly possibly can. So a little bit, but I don't know. Like I said, songwriting is a friggin' roller coaster. Every day is different for real.
And that's what
And we
makes
love it.
fun, yes.
It makes it a blast.
Gosh, Amy Allen, truly one of the greatest
Aw.
songwriters to ever do it.
Thanks, guys.
Do you know how many artists we've had on our show that like bring you up?
Your name is dropped every day here.
All the time.
Are you telling me I'm popular?
Very.
I love that. I love all the artists that I work with.
I mean, you're out there.
I do be out there right now.
Thank you for your talent and the fact that you choose to share it with the world.
Thank you for your talents, both of you. I appreciate it. This was very, very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy. I like this.
It
I
usu-
get nervous for these sometimes because I don't really.
Our show is usually easy.
I know. You'd think I'd get more nervous for a songwriting session because I'd be like, well, fuck, we have to walk away with like a written song. But these, I like interviews sometimes, I'm like,
Well, you're talking about yourself for
I
an
know.
hour.
It's always hard.
I know.
But you guys were great.
Thanks. I really appreciate you.
I like your little trolls and shit too.
Thanks.
They made me feel good.
My tchotchkes?
Your tchotchkes.
I'm glad.
I liked your lip glosses or whatever those are.
Oh, thank you. Trolls. I mean, we didn't even get to talk about the NSYNC song. We'll save it for next time.
That's a big one. Is there anyone else from your childhood you'd like to work with?
I mean, yeah, NSYNC with JT was huge. Yes, I mean,
Manifesting.
want to work with, and also like don't know if I ever should because I'm just such a fan. I might just like make an absolute fool. I met Paul McCartney the other day.
Whoa.
And I didn't even tell him I was a songwriter. I was just like, I was at the Oasis concert, and I was like in the same box as him, and I was just looking at him, and I was like, fuck it, I gotta just do it. I really just gotta do this. So I went up, and I was just like, I love you. Didn't say I worked in music. Nothing. I know. Stevie Nicks would be huge. Dolly Parton would be huge for me.
Hit the log.
Where? Oh,
Good things happen.
yeah.
Great. Thanks for hanging.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's really cool. You're very cool.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Amy Allen, everybody.